probably 50-50. You either want to watch to see me get my ass kicked, or you want to watch because you're pulling for me, or you just want to watch to see what the hell's going to happen. You know, I'm sure there's a little bit of that car crash, you know, analogy. You know, that people just want to see what's going to happen. I don't need to resort to trash talking. I don't think I need to, you know, like I said, I'm the new guy. It's not my place to call people out. Everyone's falling all over themselves to call me out anyway, so I just kind of let the chips fall where they may.
And in terms of when you see fighters after a fight, they do their post-fight interview, they get on the mic in the octagon, and some guys will really take advantage of the situation and try and put themselves in fight. And there are other guys who just trot out the usual, I'll fight whoever the UFC puts in front.
That's the worst answer you could possibly give. Yeah, absolutely. Don't say that.
So, I mean, is that something that you can sort of work with UFC to sort of almost help educate some of the other fighters into how to actually sell yourself in those sorts of situations?
Hey, you know, this is a fight game. It's real life. I think there's people that get it, and there's people that don't. You know, and some people aren't interested in doing that. They're just interested in bettering themselves, you know, through mixed martial arts. So they're not interested in doing the call-out thing, and they're okay with saying, hey, you know, I'll fight whoever, you know. But you know, I really think if you want to get ahead, I think you got to get a little bit lippy, almost. You know, not necessarily in a disrespectful way, but I like guys like Sam Alvey, who, you know, even though they're focused on whoever their opponent is at the time, they're looking ahead and they're saying, well, who can we fight next? You know, I just think that's smart business.
What was your opinion on the Ben Rothwell interview?
I loved it. I loved it. I was disappointed Ben stayed to talk about the fight, because he had this great, like, what the fuck moment, and it was entertaining, and then it took me out. Like, I think I tweeted, like, no, just get out of there, get out of there, you know. Oh, well, can you stay and talk about the fight? And he was like, yeah, sure. No, he should have just blown out the cage door and, like, left him. You always kind of got to leave him wanting more.
So what are your thoughts on Conor McGregor and what he's done in the UFC?
I love Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is great business. You know what I mean? When I flew here from Chicago, there were four really nice guys from Ireland. I'm going to screw all their names up. It was Ian, Declan, Cian, and Dean. I'm surprised I remember that. They're just four kids. They've been to every, I think, the last four Conor McGregor fights. They went to Boston. Went to the Ireland one, and they just love the guy. You know, I think that's great. I think half my plane was Irish, you know, flying over here. So, like, you know, he's good for business. That's a guy that gets it. That's pro wrestling. You know what I mean? That's Muhammad Ali, and Muhammad Ali got that from Gorgeous George.
What have you learned about yourself during this journey?
So far, nothing that I didn't already know. You know what I mean? The challenges are there. I think, you know, when I say I want to better myself and I'm competing with myself, I think that comes with the fight. You know, learn about myself when I'm underneath the lights. And if you can perform at your best on that day, if you can dial everything in with your weight cut and your camp, I think that's when guys find the most, growth within themselves and stuff like that. You know, I'm a stubborn guy. I'm a hard worker. I've always been that, so that's nothing new to me. You know, I do have little epiphanies in the gym that, you know, I can kind of like pump my fist in the car on the way home, like, yeah, that was awesome. You know, like I did that better. You know, so that's the most I've learned about myself so far.
Is there certain areas that you've fallen more in love with than the other?
You know, believe it or not, and I don't ask, but everybody asks Duke, you know, like, oh, how's he doing? And Duke tells everybody that he thinks my best area right now is striking, believe it or not, which is mind-boggling to me, you know what I mean? Because the striking is like the one thing that I never did, you know? Like, I've hit mitts before, I've done boxing and stuff like that, but just all the little nuances with, like, you know, everything you need to do with your feet, with your head, just movement, the correct movement, you know, so that's been like the most challenging thing, you know, aside from wrestling. But, you know, Duke says I'm doing okay. Duke won't lie to me.
We heard that you went down to the fighter development, the UFC's fighter development. Tell us what that experience was.
Exos? Yeah, that was rad. That was super rad. It was less. It was almost less MMA centric, you know what I mean? Like, we weren't doing, you know, every day is jiu-jitsu, wrestling, or striking, some form of one or the other. And this was purely strength and conditioning. It wasn't weightlifting. It wasn't bodybuilder bullshit. It was a bunch of smart, like-minded coaches putting us through the ropes of what I think maybe a lot of MMA fighters lack, is like a good strength and conditioning program. And hey, I get it, you know what I mean? Like, why are you going to bother trying to, do a split squat or split lunge with some kettlebells, because you don't do that in the octagon, you know what I mean? But, the idea to give yourself a better base, better fundamentals, and to work off of that, I love that place. It's Disneyland for athletes.
Have you had to tailor your training methods from maybe the time when you started pro wrestling to now at this point of your life?
Well, I've always done a lot of cardio, whether that, you pick it, I've done it. I don't lift weights as much as I used to anymore, you know what I mean? And then that was the big thing when I was on the road was, wake up, find out what town you're in, get some breakfast, find a gym, you know what I mean? And now I have a gym and I sleep in my bed every night. So I go to the gym and I do my MMA stuff. If I get any extra time, I'm normally running. But I find that maybe 1-2 days a week I'm grabbing weights, and that's really different.
Do you develop mental strength? We know we've heard past champions, the sport is 90% mental. You've got to be completely mentally strong to succeed. Is there anything that you do specifically to improve your mental strength?
Well, I don't think I'd be doing this if I didn't think I was going to win my first fight. You know what I mean? Like, my mindset is not, hey, I'm going to do this just to get paid and I expect to lose. That's definitely not what's going to happen. Being mentally strong, I honestly think it might be just something you're born with. I do sometimes sit down and some would probably call it meditate, but I just visualize, like what I'm going to do. I take like 10-15 minutes, kind of just like space out, close my eyes, and picture how my workout's going to go, or picture myself in the octagon. And I'm a big believer in that. You visualize yourself doing something, that you become that.
Last thing, time frame, anything the UFC's told you or that your coaches have told you when you be ready?
Dana's quote was, "Tell me when you're ready." And I defer to my coaches and I say, "Tell me when I'm ready, guys." You know what I mean? This is very much about me, this whole journey, but I got a whole team behind my back, and I'm not here to let them down. I'm not here to embarrass them. I want to be able to go in there and get my hand raised and say, you want to train, you just want to lose weight, you want to be a mixed martial artist, I don't care, come to Rufus Sport. I want to be able to say that after I win. So there's a lot more than just me finding out something about myself on the line through all this, and I would love to be able to hug my coaches and thank them for giving me the knowledge afterwards.